Closed captioning provided by Beaufort County.
Welcome back to Lowcountry Law on Air. I'm your host, Major Bob Brumage. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office. Before we get started on tonight's program, I'd like to extend, on behalf of Sheriff P.J. Tanner and the men and women of the Sheriff's Office, we hope everyone's doing well in the community through this COVID-19 pandemic. We're going on a year now, and we know the stress and strain it's causing both financially and emotionally for people in the community. The first guest on tonight's program is Edward De La Fuente. Edward is with Mobile Crisis, which was formerly Community Crisis Response and Intervention. Welcome to tonight's program, Lowcountry Law on Air. Edward, glad to have you here. Glad to see you're doing well.
Thank you to have us back. It's nice to be able to just reconnect with you and the community and give an update as to how everything's been going with COVID now. It's been a positive response that we've gotten not only from the community members and as well as law enforcement. You know, we're all in this together, and we just want to make sure that everybody stays informed and connected.
Well, Edward, you've been with it was formerly Community Crisis Response Intervention when we started the program
Right.
in cooperation with the Department of Mental Health in South Carolina back in July of 2018. So we've had you on board for a period of a couple of years. And how's things going? What are you seeing? What do you think of the partnership with law enforcement? And it's not only with the Sheriff's Office, but you're also assisting with the Beaufort City Police Department, the Bluffton Police Department, Port Royal Police Department, and surrounding areas.
Right. And so the partnership has been great. I can't thank the sheriff enough for opening the door for us to come into the county and provide the services that we do. Since July of 2018, we've been growing as we can to accommodate the citizens and law enforcement and anybody else that needs our services to get everybody connected with the resources that are necessary. At this point, you know, through the process of growing and evolving the program, we've welcomed another member into our team. So we're now 3 full-time clinicians working in the area, also covering the other counties around the Lowcountry to, again, provide these services as needed. And I can't praise enough the support that we've gotten from the other municipalities as well, trusting that what we do is a benefit not only to them, but as the community as a whole.
And some of the benefits would include less trips to the emergency room, you know, which is it can be a strain on the system, right, and the health system. To provide follow-up care for those who are experiencing a crisis,
Right.
and to reduce recidivism within the criminal justice system. Less visits to the jail for small offenses, minor offenses that if these folks are followed up and they're on their medications and are getting counseling, that they're committing less crimes. Is that correct?
Right, and I think that's the main goal that we have as crisis counselors is we don't want to find a solution where somebody has to go to jail or go to the hospital, you know, involuntarily. We want to make sure that we look at the situation for what it is. If we can safety plan to make sure that they stay safe at their home, and then connect them with mental health services. You know, the clinics are still going. We do have, because of the pandemic, we do have limited, you know, interactions within the clinics, but you know, we do still have ways of getting resources to the community so that they can continue addressing any concerns that they may have. Because again, when it comes to a crisis, we don't define it as a mental health diagnosis. When somebody's in crisis, it can be anybody going through a difficult time because of COVID, because they lost their job, and that's what we're here for. We're here for everybody to make sure that they stay safe.
And I'm sure with COVID-19, you've seen a lot more of that. And there's a lot more depression that results from the crisis that result from losing your job. From homeschooling, for example. We talk about children. That's certainly a big concern of parents right now, is how to get their kids successfully through this, to when things return to a normal lifestyle where they're face-to-face in school, that they're ready to go back and well adjusted. It's just very hard, I think, for these kids right now to stay well adjusted because there's no socialization, right?
Right, and I think it's true that, you know, kids are really having a harder time dealing with the changes because they are isolated. They're not able to go to school with their friends, and, you know, having to do virtual classes, it's a big different environment for them. So they're impacted, but that doesn't mean it cannot be resolved. You know, so if anybody, whether it's a parent, whether it's a neighbor, anybody that's witnessing or experiencing somebody else in crisis, call the crisis line. You can get connected right away if it's an immediate threat for the person. But at the same time, we recommend calling the centers, call the mental health centers, because they can get you connected with resources. If it's somebody that's you know, unemployed, they can try to find where they can get connected to where they can try to resolve those issues.
And we want to encourage people to get help. I mean, and don't worry about the stigma. There is no stigma here. This is something we're all going through right now, and everybody's having a difficult time with life through COVID-19.
Exactly. And I think that's the important thing that you bring up, is that, you know, we are in this together. You know, it's not about this person or that person, because, you know, if we're not watching out for each other, then that's where these crises can escalate, and that's what we want to prevent. We're doing a little bit more outreach, let the community know we're still here doing what we do, and that's what we're trying to do. I mean, you know, there's a lot of resources, and I think the community's done really good about staying informed through whether the Sheriff's Office social media sites, or through the Department of Mental Health, or the CDC, or even DHEC. Having the knowledge that you need to stay safe is the important thing here, and I think everybody's done a good job, and it's just a matter of just riding the storm until we can get past it.
Okay, Edward, advice to parents that are experiencing difficulty seeing their kids go through things that they never expected to see them go through, depression. Speak on that a little bit about what could a parent do if they see that their child is, you know, withdrawn and, you know, in their own little world. I mean, we want to avoid that at all costs.
Right. And that's true. I think right now even parents are experiencing a whole new environment because of COVID, and I think, as parents, you know, you care about your kids, you love your kids so much. When you see these kind of changes in them, you kind of, you know, you block yourself because you don't know how to treat them or take care of them. And I would recommend, you know, if you can have conversations with them regularly, let them know that they're cared for, let them know that they have somebody to talk to. That's the beginning. From there, if it escalates to where they're isolating, they're going through depression, they're not talking, then let's get connected with the mental health centers. Let's use the crisis line. There are resources available for anybody and everybody that can get connected. It's just a matter of just picking up the phone.
And that would include private providers as well. I mean, you are a public provider, for lack of a better word.
Right.
So there are plenty of private providers out there, different master level clinicians to psychiatrists to psychologists that are certainly available to assist if there's a crisis.
Exactly. I mean, and I think that's where you just want to get to a person that has your comfort level, to where you feel confident that when you turn over your child to them to take care of them, that they're going to do it, and just keep going from there. I mean, I think because of COVID, I mean, it's been very difficult, it's been very challenging, but I think, like I said, everybody's been doing a good job staying informed and knowing what resources are there. And it's just a matter of when you do find yourself in a crisis, trust those numbers, call.
Okay, and that's a 24-hour day hotline.
Yes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Mobile crisis is offering, correct?
Even during the holidays, if you need to talk to somebody will be available to help you.
Edward, go through the process for somebody who calls a crisis hotline. What would they expect if they call? What's going to be the response?
So the process is very simple. You know, initially you're just going to call the number, which is 833-364-2274. And that's a statewide number. Anybody anywhere in the state can call that number and get connected with a mental health counselor to determine if somebody, one of our team, needs to come out and do an assessment and assist. Most of the time they're able to do it over the phone, and we can go that way. But once the call is made and the determination is made that someone needs to come out to the home, we do arrive with law enforcement as a safety procedure. It's not with the intent of anybody getting arrested or anything like that. It's just to make sure that everybody stays safe. And once we arrive, then we'll just have a normal conversation. You know, find out what the stressors are, what's going on, and kind of go from there. You know, get connected with the resources that can help the individual in crisis to be able to get stabilized and stay stabilized.
And that's through follow-up visits, follow-up conversations.
Right. And you know, we can definitely follow up in a couple of days just to see how they're doing. or just have the clinics follow up with them. But again, I think the most important thing here is with the understanding that you're not going to go to jail, you're not going to get to the hospital if we can find other alternatives.
Right. You're not an extension of law enforcement.
Right.
You are just
Exactly.
not just, but you're an additional service,
An additional tool.
Absolutely. So
Exactly.
Edward, tell us, you recently were promoted. Tell us about that.
Yes, sir. So I recently went from being an actual just crisis counselor on scene to now I'm the supervisor for the area. So I have a team. The team of counselors are pretty much, under me as far as making sure that everything gets done appropriately. And if there's other calls in other areas, then I can coordinate getting those counselors to where they need to be. So it's been a change for me, but we're definitely growing, like I said, and we're bringing in more people as needed.
Well, congratulations on your success and your promotion.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Jessica Manley, who is a counselor with Mobile Crisis.
Route 51 traffic.
My name is Lance Corporal Dean Entrup, work for the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office Southern Enforcement Division, and I've been with the Sheriff's Office now for a little over 4.5 years.
Dispatch, Property 1 traffic.
I was born and raised on Hilton Head. I went to Hilton Head High School. After that, I went to University of South Carolina in Beaufort, graduated with a psych degree. I've always wanted to be in law enforcement. From the age of 14 to 21, I was in the Explorers program here with the Sheriff's Office. There's a lot of pros to being born and raised here in Beaufort County and working for the Sheriff's Office. Geographically, when responding to calls for service, I know the area like the back of my hand. Times I've been able to better communicate with people in certain situations due to maybe me going to high school with them or etc. At the end of the day, Beaufort County is a small county and everybody knows everybody. I've been on the Bloodhound team for about 2 years now. We're on call 24/7. We'll respond to calls for missing and endangered persons, elderly people that have walked off. We will also respond to armed robbery calls, and we also will assist other agencies if needed. Being on the Bloodhound team, I get to do what I love, working in law enforcement, and then also being able to work in law enforcement with handling dogs and what they have to provide. Oh, good girl! At times, law enforcement can have a lot of exciting moments, but what's nice about our job is that we get to help people sometimes that are having their worst days. You're not always sitting around, there's always something different. Anything can happen at a split second. Every day is different. Dispatch, Property 1 on scene.
Welcome back. We hope you enjoy the commercials that were produced by Stephanie French from the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office, who's a media specialist. We do this Lowcountry Law, Meet Us Monday, in different segments for public service advisories that we hope you find informative. We're back with Jessica Manley, who is a clinician with Mobile Crisis.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I started in December.
So you're pretty new here, huh?
I am, but I've been in the mental health field for a while, so.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself and why you got into the field and what you think is important about the relationship with the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office and the municipal law enforcement throughout Beaufort County.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm originally from New York. I moved down here to South Carolina about 6 months ago. Up in New York, I worked in a jail doing mental health counseling. I worked in community mental health practices, as well as I did substance abuse counseling. So being within all three of those different areas, it makes it so important and a reminder of the importance of mobile crisis. I would see a lot of recidivism with my clients when I worked at the jail. A lot of clients were coming in and out, and my goal was to help prevent that. I would see them with severe mental health, whether it's schizophrenia, extreme bipolar, and they weren't getting the services they needed. They would come into the jail, do a little bit of counseling there, and then there was no follow-through for them. So when I moved down here, I wanted to really make a change. I want to be there for mental health and support it because I have mental health in my own family that drove me into this career. So when I came down here as a intake personnel at the Beaufort Clinic, Edward approached me about a mobile crisis position that would allow me to be out in the community, help provide support, and help people, remind them that stress right now is uncomfortable, and we have people out there that are willing to help and support them.
Well, I thought that was a really good point you brought up about the recidivism. And, you know, for many, many years, jails and prisons were basically housing for those with crisis and mental illness. And this is a way to keep them out of that criminal justice system, to divert to treatment, to follow-up care, so they can lead normal lives and you know, and not be recidivists and at the revolving door of criminal justice, as they say.
Yeah, that's really our goal is we want people to be out in the community living their best lives possible. And if we can be there to help provide that support, so that way they're not in jail, they're not having children be away from their parents because their parents are suffering with mental health. We want to be there to support them, and I found that this position is the best to be able to do that.
That's great. We're glad to have you.
Thank
so
you.
Tell me what you're seeing right now as far as these calls you're getting through the crisis line, and you know, what are we seeing with COVID-19? And we talked to Edward a little bit about that, and we discussed that. So tell me what you're seeing from your perspective.
The biggest thing that I am seeing when I'm going out on calls are individuals that are actually new to mobile crisis. I'm seeing a lot of people that this is their first call. This is the first time that they're reaching out, and it's a lot of parents stressed out losing their jobs, being stressed because they're homeschooling their children, and a lot of children that are stressed out because they've lost their coping skills. The biggest thing with COVID is many of us individuals, we have our coping skills. It's going to the park, going fishing, seeing their family or relatives, seeing their friends, and because of COVID, that's really shut that down. So they've lost some of their coping skills, and they're calling to try to get that support. They don't know what to do. They're feeling stressed, overwhelmed. We can't be going to the movies because of what's going on with our world right now. So they're reaching out to us to find an extra support. What else can I do to help myself?
So these outlets are basically, a lot of these outlets for their stress and coping are shut down.
Yes.
And that's been going on, you know, several months at this point. We're almost into a year with COVID-19 becoming an issue in the United States. And certainly it's not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, we're seeing the vaccine rollout, and, you know, of course, the recommendations are the more people vaccinated, the better, to put an end to this virus and the pandemic. So, as a matter of fact, there was a mass vaccination event going on all day in the Beaufort area.
Yes, there was.
Today, which is great. And, you know, hopefully that'll continue and people are encouraged to become vaccinated. There are some that will not do it, but I think there's a strong argument that the more people that are vaccinated, the better. And again, we definitely have to encourage people wearing their masks and social distancing and you know, sanitizing their hands.
And that's the big
doing
thing.
what they've been doing the whole time to try to curb the spread of the virus. But what can people do to relieve some of that stress? Are there just general recommendations if they're less than inclined to call mobile crisis? What can they do?
So other options that they could do is, I'm a big fan of mindfulness. I know it's all over the media these days. We're always talking about mindfulness. But there's so many different apps, YouTube videos out there that can help people relax. And there's a really good skill that I know called progressive muscle relaxation. And I often suggest for people to do this when they're laying in bed. You start to tense your toes, you hold them really tight and let them go. And then you work every muscle up your body and stay focused on what would that feel in your body? Where are you holding the tension? Because with anxiety, depression, we'll hold tension in different areas. For me, when I'm anxious, if I'm upset about work stuff, I'll feel a lot of tension in my shoulders. So if I get into a mindful state and I'm aware of what's going on, I can better solve the problem. Okay, I have tension in my shoulders. That means something's going on at work. How can I address this?
So Jessica, where are you working out of at this point? Where's your duty station?
So currently I'm stationed over on Hilton Head, so south of the Broad is where my main office is. But I do go out on calls here lower in Beaufort. We go out to Allendale, Hampton County, Jasper County as well.
So it does extend into different counties as well,
Yes,
the surrounding
we do.
counties.
Yep.
So you must have a huge volume of work at this point. I mean, that's a lot of territory.
And that's why it's so important for us to get out and have the community know about us. It sounds like we're getting better. The Beaufort community knows a lot about us, and our next goal is to really expand out to the outer counties so that way they're aware of us and they start reaching out.
Right, so you're seeing increased interactions with the public,
Yes.
you're responding to calls with law enforcement throughout the judicial circuit at this point, if you're talking about Jasper, Allendale, Hampton, and Colton counties, right?
Yep.
So, all right, what kind of resources are out there through the South Carolina Department of Mental Health for people if they want to research themselves, on the internet? Go on the internet and find out what's out there and read a little bit about what crises are developing through COVID-19.
Yeah, definitely. So we can always look at the South Carolina Department of Mental Health website. They have a list of resources that are available with phone numbers. We also have available as well, our crisis phone number. We have our text line, which is the 741-741. You can text that at any time. This seems to be really well with our adolescents. They prefer to be texting with us versus talking on the phone. As well as there's always Beaufort Alcohol and Drug as well for a resource for people. I have been noticing an increase in substance abuse relapses because this is a stressful time. So reaching out for more than just mental health is really important.
So you are seeing increases in alcoholism and or drug abuse at this point.
Yes.
How about opioids, which was obviously an ongoing crisis for a period of going on 4 years now. We've seen an increase in Beaufort County.
Yes, definitely a relapse with the opiates as well. We have a saying in mental health that substance abuse, it doesn't care what race you are, what job you have, it's going to affect everybody.
And that could be what's becoming coping mechanisms, right? And that's,
Exactly.
The old healthy outlets are no longer there because everything is kind of shut down. Then you get into, well, what can I do to kind of relieve the stress? Well, we certainly recommend against that.
Yeah, exactly. The really great thing about this pandemic is they're increasing the amount of telehealth, AA groups and NA groups that are available. So you can do Google searches to be able to look up AA groups, NA groups that they are sponsoring via doxy.me and other telehealth websites that are available.
Jessica, we really appreciate your time and coming to the show, and welcome to the area.
Yes.
And as always, it's a pleasure to see Edward, and please keep up the good work, and we appreciate your partnership.
Yes, thank you. I'm looking forward to getting to know the community better.
We hope you found tonight's episode of Lowcountry Law on Air informative. We certainly appreciate Mobile Crisis joining us tonight to better inform the public on their role and depression and certain things that we're seeing more of during the COVID-19 pandemic. Next time on Lowcountry Law on Air, we're going to have a medical professional come and talk about vaccine and the rollout and the importance of the COVID-19 vaccine. And we're going to finish with a cold case. So until next time, stay safe and healthy.
If you have a question or comment, please contact Lowcountry Law on Air at lowcountrylaw@bcgov.net.
show you now that it's more than just a feeling. I was born for this. Baby, I was born for this. Never met a match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, 'cause you know that I was born for this. I was born for this. Baby, I was born for this. I was born for this. Never met a match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, 'cause you know I was born. I tell you, I was born for this. Ain't nothing gonna stop me now.
See something, say something. I'm Eric McClellan, Communications Manager with the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office 911 Dispatch Center. Crime happens often. However, closure to those cases does too. Many are solved with tips from the public through Crime Stoppers of the Lowcountry. The program receives and disseminates crime tips to law enforcement agencies, all while allowing the tipster to remain anonymous. If you have information about any crime or case in Beaufort County, you can share information without sharing your identity. You can easily submit an anonymous tip by calling Crime Stoppers of the Lowcountry at 843-554-1111 or online at p3tips.com. Tips that lead to the arrest of a suspect or recovery of stolen property can result in a cash reward. Please help law enforcement take and keep criminals off Beaufort County streets.
I'm Sarah Brock, Clerk to Council for Beaufort County Council. Did you know Beaufort County has 29 active boards and commissions? These boards and commissions serve a vital role in Beaufort County and allow citizens like you to get involved with local government and advise your council members on a wide range of issues. Members serve in a variety of capacities, from advising council regarding the selling and purchasing of land, hearing appeals, allocating ATAX monies, advocating for specific organizations, working on stormwater-related issues, zoning issues, design review, historical preservation, you name it. Visit www.beaufortcountysc.gov/council/boards and commissions today to see a list of our active boards and commissions and fill out an application. Sign up today so you can have a hand in making our community even greater than it already is.